two tools that I use, I guess, when it comes to managing embarrassment is, first and foremost, and this goes back to that idea of me putting myself, being the person that takes the piss out of myself before someone else can, embarrassing myself almost. It almost acts as this, it's a method of desensitization. And I talk about this when people ask about, do I get nervous about failing or looking stupid in front of people? And I've done it so many times now. I've competed at the top levels of CrossFit for so long now, and I've had incredible experiences, and I've had truly embarrassing moments on the competition floor where I couldn't do something, where I went out too hot and failed. There's been so many times where I've embarrassed myself in front of audiences of all different sizes that combined with just, growing up and being the one who was so quick to embarrass myself before anyone else could, there's a degree of desensitization to the feeling of embarrassment there. That's not to say that it doesn't rear its head up. But for me, I think shame is, of those three emotions, what I struggle to deal with even more. And that just goes back to my sense of self. So if you can put yourself in situations where potentially you are going to make a fool of yourself, where maybe you are going to look amazing, where maybe you are going to do something a little bit silly, if you can do that consistently for periods of time, don't throw your stone and go, I'm going to walk down the main street naked. Don't do that. First of all, you get arrested. Second of all, let's start a little bit lower than that before we kind of jump into that. But yeah, if you can find a way to kind of do that process of desensitization and get yourself to be able to feel a little bit comfortable, understand that no one really cares as much as you do. That's a big one. No one actually cares as much as you care, or as much as you think they care. And even if they have a little laugh at your expense in a moment, that will be forgotten so quick. And if someone continues to bring that up and try to make you feel embarrassed over and over again, that says a lot more about them than it does you. It really does. And then from there, the second step is to also understand that, damn it, I forgot what the second step was. I was on such a roll then as well, see, class? Real, raw, and authentic. This is just off the cuff. But yeah, that desensitization is big. Desensitizing yourself to that feeling of embarrassment is massive because, it really does help you to become more comfortable with it. Same as with anything else, just understanding that these emotions are fleeting too. When you have these big feelings, you will have a big feeling and then you will come off the side of that and you'll be able to kind of go through there as well. But anyway, that is all I have to say on shame and guilt and embarrassment. So takeaways from today, try to do a little summary. Takeaways from today, definitely to get into the habit of trying to identify when you are feeling emotionally triggered. Little cheat sheet for that is when you feel a physiological response to a feeling. Something makes you feel something emotionally and you feel a strong physical response to that. That is a very, very, very telling sign that you are triggered, emotionally triggered. From there, looking at either self-soothing or redirect in a healthy way, redirecting your attention, and then being able to identify, anchor yourself to your values and to your sense of who you are, what you believe in, what you feel strongly about, tie yourself to those values, and then look at the situation, figure out what went wrong, figure out why it went wrong, figure out how you can make amends or how you can repair that, and how you're going to act in the future. And that'll allow you to dissociate between when something is to feel guilty about, when you have done the wrong thing, because you will do the wrong thing, we all do the wrong things, but without then carrying the burden of that wrong deed as a core part of who you are, and potentially having that lead you to further negative behaviors. Alrighty, thank you guys. Don't forget to subscribe, share the episode. Also subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/calmporter. So obviously I've announced I will be alternating between doing a YouTube video one week and the podcast the next week. The idea is to alternate between the two. If you like the episode, absolutely let me know. Always down to hear some feedback, good or bad. And yeah, take care of yourselves, you beautiful people.
Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Gym Class Heroes podcast. We are joined today by Justin Kotler, head coach at Underdogs Athletics. Justin, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Presley.
Tell us a little bit. Oh, go ahead, Kiefer.
I was just going to say, this is nice. Justin and I don't get an opportunity to talk very often. So.
Yeah, I know. Seriously.
I didn't tell Presley this, but my goal for this podcast is to spend the 30 minutes talking about things that I have not heard you talk about yet. It's going to be lofty. We'll see if we can redirect things
Spend
to
a lot of
place that
time
we haven't
together.
been before.
I love it. Let's do it. That sounds good to me.
After quarterfinals, did you guys need like a break or to not be around the gym and each other so much after 4 straight days or whatever it was?
It's not each other as much.
No,
No.
it's definitely not. That wasn't an issue. Honestly, like, I just was so happy to get through quarters not being sick. Like, last week, my wife had stomach flu and sinus infection. My daughter had stomach flu, and my son had hand, foot, and mouth disease.
Oh my gosh.
And I managed to escape all of that until the day after quarterfinals, and now I have a sore throat, fever, the whole nine. So yeah, but I was able to get you kind of tap into this mental thing where you're like, I'm not getting sick,
Yeah.
I'm not getting sick, and then like the minute it's over, you just fucking crash. So
It's not a mental thing for you. I've been to competitions with you. What you do every time is you're like, I'm not fucking eating. I'm not drinking anything. If I do, I'm going to get sick. I'm going to throw it up. So I'm just going to fast all day every day.
True. Very true.
Like, you're not mentally tough enough. You just kill yourself for 4 days. And then
It's
you're sick
definitely
again.
true. Yeah, there you go. But at least I make it through the comp. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I will say. I consistently get through the competitions, and then I crash massively. So that's where we're at right now.
I have thought that before as an elite athlete, it would be challenging, amongst other things, just to have so much ride on like a certain couple days. Like, sometimes you wake up sick or you wake up, a family emergency happens or whatever. And I just can't imagine my whole career hinging on not being sick for like these 2 days. That part seems stressful.
Absolutely. It's incredibly stressful. And I think back over my career it's been a long time, and it's been very rare that I can remember, a semifinals or games or whatever where we had an athlete who was, obviously we had the unfortunate COVID year with Bethany and Carrie. But aside from that, like, when people manage to stay healthy until like right to the end, and then of course, you never know what's going to happen after. I think it's just like that will, and you kind of think yourself through it, and you tell yourself, okay, I'm going to be healthy. And then eventually, at some point in time, you're going to crash. But yeah, it is definitely stressful. That's one of the big things we talk about leading in, is just like, do all the right things heading into a competition, right? Like, make sure you're getting sleep and eating well, and, don't do anything that's going to put you in jeopardy for not being healthy during that time. So just do the best you can.
What's something that you think people might be surprised to know about being a head coach or working with elite athletes or regular, athletes that are just trying to better themselves in CrossFit? I'm sure people can imagine that there's a bag of things that comes along with working at the really high level, but what's something that you think people might not realize that is involved in like your role or coaching some of these athletes?
Oh man, that's a tough question. Let me think on that for a second. What might not people know?
People must know that we're their therapist at this point, right?
I think that's massive. I always say to people that there's a big difference between great programmers and great coaches. And I think one of the biggest keys, especially as you get more experience in this, is that there's no